So when it comes to spirituality and psychedelics, do you know much about it?
Yeah, I used to do mushrooms and LSD back in the day, but I was not a spiritual person back then, so I was just like, man, I'm hallucinating. I thought somebody killed my cat, and I didn't even have a cat. Like, that's how bugged out some of the trips were. I thought the sky was like talking to me and stuff. So
Wow.
I could see how somebody so there's I forget what it's called, but it falls under the power of suggestion. It's also priming. In sales, you prime somebody for the sale, right? So I think there's a few things that happen with psychedelics, right? Since I was agnostic at the time and, kind of atheistic, when I would take these psychedelics, I was under the presupposition that I'm just hallucinating and seeing some bugged out stuff. But if somebody is a spiritual person and is taking those things for a specific spiritual experience, they're coming from that presupposition, then of course what they see, they're going to believe it's spiritual, right? So it can all be from your perspective and the lens. And then if you want to go even further, right, I would say that maybe the veil does get lifted when you take, mind-altering drugs. I know people go do ayahuasca in Peru and stuff like that. And I would say that if you are having good things happen to you in that spiritual realm, I would say, what are you using as a foundation as to what's good, what's not, And if you look at what the Bible says about how Satan operates, it says that even Satan himself transforms into an angel of light. He can present himself as an angel of light, right? So if you go and have a psychedelic experience and you're going in there, you're speaking to your spirit guides and you're speaking to Mother Ayahuasca and all of this, right? How are you, like, where's your foundation to understand whether or not you're being deceived or not? How do you know these spirits that you're talking to that are guiding you? How do you know that they truly have your best interest in
They
mind?
show up on the right shoulder.
Yeah. Like,
If they're on the left, they're the devil.
So there was
This guy.
there's this I just did a podcast with somebody who was in like the speaking realm, right? Who like the personal development. He's friends with Tony Robbins, like all of that stuff. And he knows somebody who did like 51 ayahuasca ceremonies. Anytime his life gets all messed up, he goes and does an ayahuasca trip, right? And when I hear that, I'm like, how much value could you possibly be getting out of this? Like, how is this fixing something for you if you got to go 51 times,
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
also, if you're just looking at things through the Christian worldview, as I believe is the correct worldview, anything that is leading you away from Christ is leading you away from your true salvation. So you could go have a trillion trips and be like, oh man, so spiritual, I'm one with the universe, all of that stuff. But you have nothing to ground yourself in. You're just believing these entities, on face value, that they're telling you the truth about things, right? So that's kind of my perspective on the whole psychedelic thing.
I get it 100%. So how do you feel about doing it now that
I wouldn't do it.
You're seeing life in a different way now?
Yeah, so
your experience would be different.
Yeah, which is why I don't want to do it. So if you look at the words for sorcery in the Bible, the Bible was not written in English. I know it's hard for people to believe that, but it was not written in English, right? I know it's definitely hard for some politicians to believe that. But if you look at what the word sorcery is, it's translated from the word pharmakia, right? So pharmakia is like how we get the word pharmacy. So it's medicinal use, right? So that word itself is not necessarily wrong. Using plants for medicine is not necessarily wrong. But if you're using it in the way that they're describing it in the Bible, meaning trying to contact other spirits, trying to contact the dead, you're using these specifically for that reason when God has not authorized us to do so, right? Just because something exists, you get this argument, well, why would God put it there? Well, I don't know. Why did he put the forbidden tree in the Garden of Eden? He's got his reasons, So if you are using it to have a spiritual experience that is especially taking you away from God, I just don't see why you would want to do that. And then also, are you using it as a medication? Just you're not really facing the problems that you have in life and putting, as I would say, laying them at the foot of the cross and asking God to take the wheel in a sense. And you're just doing this for the experience because it makes you feel good afterwards. It's a spiritual high. You're just chasing that high over and over and over again. And I think that it's dangerous to think that you are in a position to know what's actually going on in the other realm. So if there's no clear indication from biblical instruction to go do something, I'd be a little bit weary of it. To go do something spiritually, I would be weary of it. And especially if there's an allusion to not doing it, like, hey, you're not supposed to do this. Sorcery is condemned in the Bible. Then I'm not going to play with it.
It says it like that.
Yeah.
That it's condemned.
Yeah, it could have back in the the Old Testament days when life was crazy. You could have got stoned to death for it. It's not the they always tell you the extreme of what could happen. It's not like they would just stone you to death for it. But it's a possible punishment to that crime because you're not supposed to break one of the commandments. You're not supposed to worship any gods beyond, besides the one true God, right? So when you're doing this to contact these other spirits or entities or whatever, these are all considered Elohim, which is the word spiritual being. It's also another name for God, right? But when you're contacting these Elohim, which is just another word for spiritual beings, anything that is not of this physical world can be considered an Elohim. You're worshiping another god. You're taking advice from other gods. These spirit guides are saying, hey, this is for you. I used to be involved in Santeria back in the day, right? And I was under the impression, at least this is what they told me. I was still skeptical about it, but I was doing it anyway. But they were telling me that this woman who is getting possessed in front of my eyes is getting possessed by the saints, and that whatever advice she tells me is coming essentially from those saints. And here I am, the gullible person who does not know any better. I have no spiritual discernment. I'm believing what she's saying. And then, when I dug more into it, I'm realizing she's getting possessed by demons that are telling me these good things in my life. But she never told me to not do. She never told me to stop sleeping with the women that I was sleeping with. She never told me to clean up my drinking habits. She never told me to stop doing drugs, never told me to do any of that. And that's also a running theme for people who, are into these type of spiritual things. All of the things that God says is sin, they're telling you should go experience. So, I don't know, just the red flags go off for me.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching that clip. If you want to see the full episode, click right here. God bless.